UFC Vegas 27 had a lot of action from, the end of the night. You knew it was a good card because that canvas was absolutely painted with some of that good old red colored blood that we all know and love as UFC fans. Just bleed, baby. But we saw some fantastic performances, knockouts, some submissions, some really one of the worst debuts, quite frankly, I've seen for a while. Then some guys that might be getting pushed a little too quickly. And then, Rob Font, man, what a masterclass of a performance there in the main event, unfortunately, against Cody Garbrandt. But besides that, Paul Felder retires, so we're going to talk our favorite fights about him in honor of one hell of a career. Oscar De La Hoya versus GSP. Is that going to happen? And is Triller actually going to find a way to convince Dana White to have that happen? Spoiler alert, no one does that to Dana White. Is Nganu still looking for the Jon Jones fight? Is that why we haven't gotten Derek Lewis announced officially yet? And then Tough comes out on June 1st, so that and more. Of course, I'm your host, Ross, joined alongside by UFC correspondent Blake Campbell. And Blake, how are we feeling after this phenomenal slate of fights?
Feeling pretty good, man. It was entertaining and a lot of bloodshed, so you can't complain too much. It was, like I said, a little bit of a spectacle this weekend.
Oh yeah, nothing like a little spectacle to enjoy. But before we get into things properly with the aforementioned rundown that I just gave you all, let's talk about our sponsors for this show real quick. Shout out to scgsubs.com. They are doing a buy two, get two sale right now, so go hit up for some of the best pre-workout I've ever had. You don't get the tingles, you don't get the crash, you only get the benefits of it, which is nice, and also the green apple flavor was quite tasty. Then also, it's that time. What better time than now to get into some little sports betting? It's been, taking the country by storm. The states everywhere legalizing it. So what better time to get into it than now? Especially when you essentially get a little bit of some free cash to gamble or to bet with over on Thrive Fantasy. So go to thrivefantasy.com or download the app on the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store. And with the promo code 4th and Long on deposits of $20 and up to $50, they will match you dollar per dollar. They take the guesswork out of sports betting. You get your prop bets going. MLB, NBA, NHL, even golf and stuff like that. Go get started on that today. Once again, promo code 4th and Long. Then also to become a member of a very, very prestigious group of our patrons. And to get behind-the-scenes content, bonus content, early drops, merch discounts, and a bunch of other stuff. Starting at just $1 a month, go on over to patreon.com/4thandlong to get started today. But Blake, let's get into things with UFC Vegas 27 because this was a real good card. I want to get to that main event, but we have to start off on the prelims because we got one hell of a fight that was early on this card. Bruno Silva versus Victor Rodriguez. If you blinked during this fight, you missed it because this lasted just 1 minute before Bruno Silva got a real solid TKO in this one. Lands a right cross, finishes with ground and pound, and best of all, he brings out the prop with a piece of paper saying $75K, Dana. Although, he did get a performance bonus. It's for $50K. Ain't no Tony Ferguson card, I guess. But nonetheless, fantastic showing. He gets the extra cash. What did you think of this fight?
Yeah, unfortunately, Bruno Silva didn't get the Dana White privilege. Tony Ferguson has been allotted. But yeah, you said if you blinked, you missed it. In my case, I went to the store to grab a little bit of food really quick before Huggy Bear came on. And yeah, I missed it.
Man, she just missed a Huggy Bear fight at this point.
I know. I should have waited one more fight, huh? But I still got caught up. I still got caught up on that fight. It was only a minute long, so it didn't take me long to see what happened.
Man, you can see the highlights on Twitter. And
yeah, that's basically all it was. But beautiful knee up the middle, amazing punch that landed and pretty much spun him around, and an awesome finish on the ground. So yeah, really impressive performance. Can't wait to see who he fights next.
And then with that Huggy Bear fight, let's talk about, like I said, one of the worst debuts I've seen in quite a while. We've seen a lot of good debuts in the UFC, especially in 2020. It felt like the year of debuts. We had some guys on our show that had fantastic debuts. Just talking, if you want to go check out the most recent interview we did with Justin James, where he talks about his tale of how he rode a whale You're not hearing me wrong. He rode a freaking whale. So go listen to that. He has a fight with Charles Rosa coming up in June. He had a knockout in the first minute, in the first 45 seconds of the fight. Knocked Frank Camacho outstanding in his UC debut. Wasn't even on the roster 5 days before. Sasha Platnikov, performance of the fight of the night bonus in his debut to the promotion. Chris Barnett, though. He's not going to be getting any performance bonuses anytime soon, like hell. I'd be surprised if he even gets a second UFC fight after this, as Ben Rothwell, the longtime veteran of the game, just absolutely dominates this guy, and at least according to Tapology, gets his first guillotine finish of his career. And I am still confused on why Chris Barnett, I really don't want to be, I guess, a dick about it, but dude does not belong anywhere near the UFC.
Hey, you were really excited about him last week.
I was excited.
Such a sudden change of tone.
Well, it's because I saw him fight in a promotion where he wasn't fighting like a bunch of essentially amateurs. It
was probably one of the most pathetic performances I've ever seen. The punch, if the punch that you're throwing the most is a Superman punch,
I think he threw that 3 times in a row.
From 10 miles away, it's not going to get it done. You got to have something at this level. For me, the thing that bothered me was it just looked unsafe out there for him. It looked like he was just taking huge shots. He had no answer for them. I mean, really, he was just a walking punching bag.
He landed a couple solid shots, but most of those...
I'm sure, yeah, if you look at Rothwell's face, for sure. I mean, they're in a fist fight, right? Like, he's going to get hit eventually. They're big guys. They can take hits.
It was a fun heavyweight fight for a couple minutes.
But it wasn't very
competitive,
pretty to look at, you know? It just, and it wasn't competitive. It just wasn't a UFC fight. It just wasn't good enough. You can't have that kind of, product in the UFC. That doesn't even belong in Bellator.
Where does it belong? ONE FC?
I mean, ONE FC has some pretty solid fighters.
What about bare knuckle? Can we put this in bare knuckle?
I don't know. He's 5'9". I really don't know what he has going for him.
Yeah,
what did he have? Did you see any skills from him? He had a couple nice kicks, I guess, a couple nice body kicks.
He could probably absorb some body shots.
He's just not a really good fighter. I'm very uninterested in ever seeing him fight again. Let's just put it that way.
But at least if I want to talk positive about this fight, a huge win, a really important win for Ben Rothwell, because he's been kind of that guy on the brink, with roster cuts and some stuff like that, health issues. This is a guy that might be on the outside of his UFC career, but he gets a win here. And he is able to probably keep this kind of a gatekeeper role, like maybe a gatekeeper at the top 15 of the heavyweights, which wouldn't be a bad spot for him to be in for the time being. Almost like what Andrei Arlovsky's doing.
Yeah, I mean he gets to keep his his job, so it's not bad news at all.
Keeping jobs is cool.
and if he when you get a win, you get to start climbing the ladder a little bit. So he just proved the new dog is nothing to be worried about, and now he's going to probably get another guy that's a little closer to the top 15, I guess you could say, in terms of record and what they've done in their career, because that guy was a complete unknown, right?
Yeah.
And those are scary fights to take sometimes, because you really don't have a ton of knowledge on the guy coming up. But if you go against guys that have been in the UFC or Bellator, promotions that have more eyes on them, at least you have a little bit of something to work with. Yeah. But long story short, he's got his job still. He's doing fine. He got the win bonus. He's sitting pretty right now.
Yeah, you bet he is. And then with that, we could roll on into the main card of the event. And the first fight on the card was the 1 week push back, Jack Hermansson versus Edmond Shibazian. Really important middleweight bout. And man, Jack Hermansson absolutely dominated Edmond Shibazian in this one.
Except for that first round.
Well, yeah, that's fair. Except for the first round. In the second and third round,
10 minutes of domination easily.
Yeah, the first round was competitive. I still gave that to Hermansson.
I gave it to Edmond. I thought Edmond did enough to. Yeah, I thought he was looking pretty sharp on the feet. He was looking strong, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, Hermansson's just taking him down with ease and holding him there. That was the thing. He was just holding him there.
Yeah, it is. We all know that Jack Hermansson is, without a doubt, one of the best middleweights on the ground. This guy's a beast. We saw what he did against Kelvin Gastelum in the first minute or so of the fight, getting him in a heel hook like that. We saw him outpiece Edmond Shibazian most of the fight, though. In total strikes, he had 99 more than 141 to 42 of them. 55 of them significant strides, a little bit closer, 55 to 40. But those takedowns, 3-0, landed them at the 50% clip. And like you said, he was holding him down. And he was almost holding him down with not a whole lot of... It didn't look like Edmond really had the chance to get up a lot of the times. And
there wasn't a ton of resistance.
Right? And so this was a really curious thing. It was an easy decision to come to. And I almost have to ask the question if Edmond's being pushed too quickly, because he was 11-0. He's now lost his last 2 fights, one against Derek Brunson, now Jack Hermansson. Is it time to maybe take a step back and maybe take maybe someone at the bottom of the top 15, maybe someone take not on the 15, or do you think he's, like I said though, do you think he's being pushed too quickly by the UFC?
I mean, if he thinks he's who he is, then no. I think in the UFC you're going to fight some really tough guys sometimes, and a lot of times it is about styles and matchups. And unfortunately for him, like these last 2 matchups, Derek Brunson, Jack Hermansson, like they've both been able to take him down relatively easily, and not only that, but keep him there and dictate that fight, and keep them where they feel safe. So, yeah, I mean, maybe try and pick a better fight if you know if you have the choice,
right?
But maybe he didn't have the choice, right? Maybe those are the only 2 names that were coming at him. And it's tough when you get to that top kind of 8 to 10 in the division, because you really don't have a lot of wiggle room, so to say, at that point. Like there's only certain matchups that are available because someone's injured, someone's in a title fight, other dudes are rematching. Like there's just so many things that are happening. Like when you have that opportunity, you have to take it, especially when there's a high number next to their name. And both of these guys, I just think, are really poor matchups for him, because we've kind of seen, these glaring holes that are in his game now. It's like, takedown defense, and then also like the urgency to get up once you're on your back. Like he just had no answer for either of these past 2 fights.
At least on a bright side for Edmond Shibazian is that he has these holes and he has some struggled recently, but he's only 23 years old.
I was gonna say his age, bro.
Right.
Say his age. He's fighting Hermansson, Brunson, like all these guys at 23 years old.
Grown ass men at 23 years old.
Oh my
goodness. The toughest sport and the toughest promotion in the world. So you have to give him a lot of credit there. But at the same time, he might just not be at that level yet, and that's not a bad thing. I'm not trying to crap on this guy.
But this could you'll hear everyone in this sport say you learned so much more from your losses than you do from your wins. So maybe this is good for him to get these 2 similar type losses right in a row, and he's really going to know what he needs. He's going to have tons of tape, right?
Yes.
It's not like he's getting, beat to death in these fights. He's going to have tons of tape to go back, look back on, and make adjustments, and hopefully in the future be able to, bring a better fight to the table.
So let's talk what should be next for these guys now. Let's stick on the topic with Edmond Shibazian, and then if we take a look at the rankings, Blake, I would like to present to you a name that I think could be a good and exciting fight for these 2 guys. What if we have at least Edmond Shibazian, he was number 10. We're assuming he's going to drop a little more in the rankings, maybe 11 or 12. What about the guys that is number 14 currently? Kevin Holland.
Versus Shibazian? That would be a good one, because they're both predominantly strikers.
Obviously, I mean, Edmond's probably a little better on the ground than Kevin Holland. Although we have seen recently Daniel Cormier trading with Kevin Holland.
Yeah, he's in San Jose now. You never know.
Hey, he could be getting pretty good. I mean, so we'll see about that.
But I mean, how good can you get though? Relative to other people's skill level in just a short period of time. It's gonna be tough. But yeah, it's gonna help for sure. It's not gonna not help going and training with an Olympic wrestler. But no, back to the topic at hand though. I think Holland would be an awesome opponent for him. Another I think sneaky decent opponent would possibly be Gastelum. But I don't know if that's another kind of like shark to feed him to, right?
That's a hard fight, but given what we've seen Gastelum go through recently, that's not. I mean,
it kind of makes sense for both because they're both on losses.
Both have lost to Jack Hermansson.
And it would give both a ton. Like it's a big fight for both, because if Gastelum beats Edmond, it's like, okay, he's still beating the young pups, and if Edmond beats Gastelum, it's like, okay, you beat the title challenger, the guy that gave Izzy his toughest fight to date.
Yes,
you're still in this.
So I love that matchup. Of course, we're going to be posting this on the social, so let us know what you want to react to those pictures or the post when you see them. And then on the other hand, for Jack Hermansson, he's at number 7 going to this fight, and then he might be able to demand a top 5 opponent after this. One of the fights, I mean, I'm going throughout the only 2 names in front of him that don't have a fight booked. So Derek
I already know what you're going to say.
And Darren Till.
Yeah, I already know what you're going to say. I was going to say exactly
obvious,
those names.
It's obvious on which one's going to be.
Because Till already got scrapped. You know, they were supposed to fight in November, December
a while ago.
of 2020.
Yeah, so that got scrapped. I would like that fight, but also
Brunson and Hermansson though. That's kind of. I'd like to see like who's better out of those 2 guys, right? Because they're kind of the guys. They're kind of the pesky flies that are always flying around the title picture. You know, I'd almost like to see those guys duke it out. But then it kind of leaves Till on the outside. It's like, damn, who does he fight?
Right, it's kind of a tough one right here. Yeah. Maybe, man, it's really a coin flip on who I want to see most in this one because both of them are super intriguing fights.
The thing is Till, if Till's 100%, I'd always want to see Till. But if Till's going to be any type of lingering issues, like let Hermansson and Brunson duke it out and maybe give Till a haul.
Let's see.
You know, for like a warm-up fight.
Let's see who is ready soonest. So if it's soonest, I would like.
Oh, wait, but Hall has a fight though. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah. Never mind. Okay, scrap that.
It's all good. We forgive you, Blake. It's okay.
Scrap that.
We all make mistakes.
Casual.
Just like your parents.
Look at your face, bro. You got beat with the ugly stick.
Dude, I got abused by the ugly stick. It's not even funny at this point.
It's all good. I forgive you.
I would like Darren Till, but also either of these 2 would be great. Let us know which you guys would prefer on that one. Then the next fight I want to roll into is Team Alpha Males. Ricardo Ramos gets the big dub against Bill Algeo in a solid scrap in between these 2 guys. And one of the craziest thing is, Ramos gets the win, but he pretty much gets this win purely on the amount of takedowns he is able to land. He's able to land 8 out of his 13 attempted. Even though that he was outstruck 90-57 on total strikes and 76-53 on significant strikes. But that 8 takedowns to 0 is a significant margin. And that's ultimately what gets him the win in this one. But it was a great fight by either guy. I had a lot of fun watching this.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you're gonna have the haters on Ramos for doing a little bit of the hugging, but
sorry for implementing a good game plan.
Yeah, you got to give credit where credit is due. I mean, he saw a weakness and he capitalized. So Algeo, he's dangerous on the feet. You can't really fault him for going where he feels more comfortable and getting that dub any way possible. He gets 2 checks now.
Come on, he's Brazilian. What you expect him to not be a phenomenal guy on the ground? That's all these guys are. But of course, not all they are. There's a lot of phenomenal strikers. But man, also just real quick, I hate the argument like the whole just a hugging. Like there's a lot of like I guess backlash towards Beneil Dariush of his fight against Tony Ferguson. I got no problem with it being a grappling affair. If you don't like it, it's mixed martial arts. It's not boxing. Okay, I think that's what we got to go with. And then I think the thing with me, Blake, is that I just can't I can't fault the guy for implementing and executing a perfect game plan. I just can't. You know?
Yeah, I mean to a point, I would say. You gotta like it's one thing to have a wrestling heavy, attack and game plan, but you got to do something with it. You got to give me a little bit of ground and pound, give me some submission attempts, do something. And I'm not saying Beneil Dariush didn't do that. I'm just saying in general when
obviously
the arguments are made,
there's
exceptions for both sides. Is all I'm saying. There's exceptions definitely for both sides.
That's fair.
I just like the fight to be a little entertaining.
I'll take that. But at the end of the day, you really gotta realize. I mean, this dude's career is a win's a win. All right, let's be real.
Absolutely. And Algeo, man, that's a tough guy to deal with in those divisions, right? I think 145 pounds and he's 6 feet tall. Like that's
a tall guy.
That's going to be a really tough task.
Taller
really
than a super heavyweight fighter.
Yes, you're right. One that fought on the same card, but it's just a tough puzzle for guys to solve. At that weight class, so you can't fault him for doing what he had to do.
No, it really is hard to. And then, man, the next fight I want to talk about Blake's bangers hit. This got 5 tonight. Justin Tafa versus Jared Vanderaa. But boy, were we wrong about Jared, because this dude looked fantastic against Justin Tafa. He gets his first win with the UFC. He was a Contender Series, got the win there. He made his UFC debut. He lost that, but now he gets a win. He's 1-1 in the promotion. And he had double the strikes landed in this fight. And his combination of kicks and punches, mixing to the head, to the body, those head kicks. I was not expecting that big of a guy to throw head kicks that snapped the way that they did. Those were some brutal shots. And I loved what he said. He said through there's the saying where you throw in everything in the kitchen sink at them. He said he broke the kitchen sink over Tafa's head, and he still didn't go down. So Tafa still has that chin. Fantastic fight. And one of the funniest parts about this is that there is a lot of blood. I mean, Vanderaa had white shorts. They looked red, like they were supposed to be red by the end of it. But he had this, what looked like a giant gash on his head.
It looked crazy.
But
like
then
when it didn't get cleaned.
Right?
When it didn't get cleaned, it looked insane.
Right? But then the cutman cleaned up. It's like this tiny little red mark.
Dot. Yeah.
It was so funny to me. Oh, give that cutman a promotion with that work.
I think that's just the way the body works, though. You know, if you get cut in the head, you're gonna
has a lot
bleed
more
like
blood
crazy.
There. And I've seen from my experience with football, like I've had tiny cuts that have bled the most. It doesn't make sense. The body doesn't make sense. But Blake, what do you think about this fight?
Yeah, it was entertaining. It was a little slow starting, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
Tafa looked a little gun shy almost. I don't know. But
we didn't expect that.
Vanderaa went out there, took care of business, and just kind of put a beating on him. Really, Tafa had a few really good shots though towards the end of the fight.
Oh yeah,
and it looked like he was stunning him a little bit, but I mean Vanderaa was pretty much in control the whole fight. It was a pretty
of both these guys.
Yeah, it was a pretty dominant performance though, I would say.
Yeah. That was a lot of fun. Now, of course, he's not going to be anywhere near the top 15, but he does. Vanderaa does able to climb a little closer. Maybe we can do a Ben Rothwell versus Jared Vanderaa fight now. It wouldn't be something like that. I would not be opposed to that.
I wouldn't be opposed. Yeah, let him heal up and go at it. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, Les Gash heal. That'd be important. No, I'm just playing those two. And if you're in a heavyweight fight, it doesn't matter how light of a fight it was or how little punches got landed. If a punch lands, you're going to need some time off because those boys throw. Oh, man. And then, while this fight, it looked like he had a good cut, wasn't really. That was not the case for what Carla Esparza did to Jan Xiaowen's forehead because, oh, man, this looked really similar to what Valentin Shevchenko was able to do at UFC 261, getting into the crucifix and just dominating from there. That's what Carla Esparza did on this one. She gets the TKO in the second round. Elbows from the crucifix, and this was a emphatic statement. She cannot be denied for a title shot now. She said, "Oh, this is number one contenders fight, probably. Well, let me go and dominate the hell out of my opponent. 3 takedowns, going with striking 170 to 31, and then, like I said, getting that really good finish on the ground." Blake, your thoughts about Carla Esparza's performance in this and how she looked?
Yeah, she surprised the hell out of me. I've notoriously not been very high on Carla Esparza, but I mean, you look at her track record; these last few fights, she's been on a tear.
Mm-hmm.
She's been very effective in implementing her game plan.
Yes.
It's going to be wrestling heavy, but the thing that I loved about it the most is she was putting damage on this woman. I mean, really, that first takedown was given to her, and she took full advantage of it.
I guess that's the difference between like a Ricardo Ramos, and then Carla Esparza kind of fight.
Yeah, just a little bit, but I mean, I still don't hate on performances like a Ricardo Ramos. Like I understand it.
Yeah. This
but
is a little more fan friendly kind of.
Carla Esparza was able to just ragdoll her. Really, I mean, there was really no resistance from Jan Xiaonan. I mean, there was nothing she could do. She couldn't figure anything out in between rounds, and it was just pretty easy night at the office. Like as good as it could have gone for Carla.
Right. Straight up. Just, man, I don't know what else to say. Really good performance by her. And then, come on, right? She's gained that title shot now, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think it would make sense. I mean, because Wei Li got finished. I wouldn't mind seeing Joanna and Wei Li run it back before, or Wei Li could sit out and get the winner of the Esparza and Thug Rose fight.
Exactly.
So, I'm more interested at this point in seeing if Rose has, is really like levels above Carla now, or if Carla is going to be able to go in there and, do her thing.
Man, I'm really curious because I'm excited for this rematch. I was hoping for this rematch to happen. Of course, they first fought back in 2014, and Carla Esparza won that fight. But I mean, Rose Namajunas.
I think that was for the inaugural strawweight title too, because that's how Carla won the title. I want to say.
Yeah, and then anytime after that, what's Rose gone to do? Blake? She's won the strawweight title twice. So these are two completely different fighters, and it's going to be a completely different fight. So, man, I'm all on board with this. And I just want to see Thug Rose, man. Any fight with Thug Rose makes me happy. Mm-hmm. Because it's going to be a performance.
Oh, yeah.
And then, speaking of performances, Rob Font, man. This was just a damn near a perfect fight against Cody Garbrandt. Dominated Cody for 5 rounds. And while Cody had his moments in this one, he couldn't really sustain anything. Significant strikes in this one. Not good. More than double. 176 to 63. And now Garbrandt has lost 4 of his last 5 after starting his UFC career 11-0 and with the bantamweight title. And one of the things that looked like this, like it just kind of looked like Cody couldn't get out of second gear in this fight. It looked like, come on, because we know the two kind of Cody Garbrandts we get. We get the wild and crazy and just throwing, and we get the calm and collected. But it looked like, is it wrong to say he looked too cautious in this one?
No, I think that's a good way to put it. We also got to give your boy Andrew a shout out for calling that before the fight happened on that day.
Yes, man.
Yeah, that was a good one. He called it. He said Rob Font easy decision.
Right, and then I was like, he said Rob Font easy. I was like, oh, what round? Because I was really expecting someone to go down in this one. He said decision. I was like, oh, you're bold. Yeah. And then spot
on.
I give my man some credit, man. I can't deny that. That was good.
Yeah, so I think, it was a rough fight for Cody, man. He couldn't get past that jab. It was, I mean, and the funny, well, I mean, not funny, but the crazy thing
is that the best jab in the UFC?
I don't know about that. Rob Font literally all week was talking about it, like in everything leading up, all content leading up to it, destined like media days, anything. Mm-hmm. He's talking about his jab. So I mean, Cody should have known coming into that fight, I gotta find a way to fight this jab. Mm-hmm. And the first round was actually, he did really, really good. Came out there, used his wrestling, wasn't really able to hold him down too much. So you're a wrestler
now.
Well, he's got to mix it up. He's a state champion in wrestling, if I'm not mistaken. So he can do it on the ground. But as you said, well, actually, I don't even know if he brought this up, but it just looked like the gas tank really wasn't completely there.
Yeah, I don't want to say with COVID, I guess he's still feeling little effects from that.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't going to bring that excuse into it, but that is something, that's a factor that you do need to keep in mind, right? Mm-hmm. Like it's something that there's been, Hamza has had trouble with it. A bunch of other people have had trouble with it, lingering effects. So, I mean, maybe that is there, but yeah, to what you were saying, it did look like he was a little overcautious. I think it was decent for him to kind of take those shots from Rob and see like, okay, I do have a chin still
there, man.
But it also kind of sucked to see him take, a few too many of those shots, especially that head kick. I was like, oh my God, he just ate that.
Oh, he was eating some heavy shots, man.
But yeah, just nothing really overly impressive from Cody this fight.
Yeah. Rob Font, though, man. That guy can throw down. And he throws in combos. Right. He hits it with the right. He hits it with the left. He lands that leg kick. And he lands it with force and power without, like... You can see when guys are trying to knock people out, you could see that. But when Rob lands these heavy shots that you can hear, it looks almost effortless. This guy just has power without even trying. And so, Rob Font, man, he's now won 4 fights in a row, and he's looking really good. He's looking like a contender. So let's talk next fight for both these guys. And let's talk about Cody Garbrandt first. One, I would like to throw a couple names out there. One of them being Marlon Morris. I think this could be a really good fight for him. If you look at both those guys going to this fight, Cody Garbrandt was number 4 guy. Currently, Marlon Morris is number 6. They haven't fought, and then also Marlon Morris' last fight was a loss to Rob Font. So I think this could make sense with that matchup. And then another name I would like to put out there too is possibly Frankie Edgar.
Well, they're teammates. That's not going to happen.
I know. I just want to see.
That's Mark Hunt's boys.
It's never going to happen.
And plus, I think you're totally forgetting the 125 rumors. Like I think that Cody.
You think he drops now?
I think he might drop.
Oh, okay.
He might get the next title shot, or he might just do a number 1 contender fight and solidify the next shot. So we'll see what goes on with Cody. It's going to be interesting for sure.
He's got a lot to think about. For him, then?
At this point, I don't know, man. Bantamweight's pretty tied up right now, right?
Yeah.
Because you got Corey and TJ for number 1 contender, so they got the next shot.
Yeah.
You got Aljo and Jan running it back, so that's another 6 months on
at least
on
more
the waiting
than
list.
likely.
And Cody at this point in bantamweight will have to win at least 2 more fights to even get close to a title eliminator fight. At this point,
yeah,
it's gotta be impressive wins too over guys that are good. So. Yeah, I'd say it might be worth checking out 125, just seeing how he goes over there, because he could literally blow up that whole division.
He could. If he could make that weight, he could contend. Especially
he can make that weight.
Especially with we get the title fight going down UFC 263 over there in Arizona between Figueiredo, trying to right the wrongs of the bad. Well, I guess he had that hindered performance because he was in the hospital like the night before, if we throw it all the way back to December. So that was going to be a really good fight. UFC 263 in general, that card's loaded. This summer is good for us UFC fans. But let's talk Rob Font then, because I put this out on Twitter on Monday for his next fight. I think there's 2 solid options right here. And first off, it's not going to happen, but personally, if he got put into a title fight against Aljo, I wouldn't complain. If we didn't already have these other 2 fights in the current situation, you could easily make that argument.
I would definitely complain about that.
But the one that's more likely than not is probably the loser of Corey Sandhagen versus TJ Dillashaw. And then maybe if the UFC doesn't want to, for whatever reason, doesn't want to run the media rematch with Petr Yan and Aljamain Sterling, Petr Yan wouldn't be a bad fight as well. But loser is Sandhagen versus Dillashaw?
Yeah, I think that's probably the only logical, next step.
That he wins that title shot, right?
Yeah, depending. It just depends on the title picture. Yeah, possibly.
It's Rob Font, for what he's been doing recently, I would like to see him get a title shot soon if he gets another one.
It's just tough though, because the loser of that fight between TJ and Corey, if they lose in a devastating fashion and then Rob beats them up, it's going to be almost looked at as like a slide, right? So that's what I'm saying. It depends on a lot of things, but yeah, in theory, if he beats a guy at that level, yes, he's got 5 fights in a row. That's wins at the top, at the top level pretty much. So he's trending in the right direction. It's just he's got to get a little bit more pop on his name.
Well, if he already has pop in his glove, so I guess you got to get the name going.
This weekend helped, though, for sure. This weekend definitely helped. It would have been better if he got a finish, but, he still outclassed Cody Garbrandt, an ex-champion. So things are going, things are moving in the right direction for him.
And then as a whole here, do you think Rob Font gained more from this fight, or did Cody Garbrandt lose more from this fight?
I think Font probably... I think Font gained more. I don't think Cody lost a lot. Because, he fought Rob Font. Like, Rob Font's a really good guy, and he didn't get finished. He showed he has a chin still. He didn't get, overly aggressive, but he didn't come out of his shell necessarily. I think it just showed that there's still some things he needs to work on, possibly, was hindered by, whatever lingering effects from COVID, that he can work that out as well. So I think it just showed the blueprint of what he needs to work on. And if he's hungry enough, he's going to be back. He's going to fight a Marlon Morris or someone, on that level and get another chance. Or he's going to go to 125 and see what he's made of over there. So I think Rob Font definitely gained more than Cody lost, because Cody's still a huge name. He still has millions of followers on Instagram. He's chilling, dude. He's got Ali Abdelaziz as his manager. He's gonna be good. He's gonna be in good hands.
Man, with Ali, even coming off of being 1-4 in his last 5, he could still probably get a next title shot at the 125 division.
You never know, dude. You never know. He works magic, man.
That man Ali he's built different. If we just want to classify it as that.
His head's built different.
He's
sorry.
Oh boy. With that's a UFC Vegas 27. Let's roll into some news before we get to the Nene of the week. And let's talk something that did happen pretty much out of nowhere is kind of what happened. Was Paul Felder announced his retirement during the main card of UFC Vegas 27. Unfortunately, this means, Blake, I know you're a little sad because you won this fight. No more Paul Felder versus Tony Ferguson. So that's a casualty of this. But at the same time, man, he deserves a retirement like this. I have no problem with this. One hell of a career by this guy. And now he's just one of the best commentators in the game. So I think we still win here.
Yeah, no, it's sad, but it's not totally, the worst day. I always think back to that one little verbal altercation on, I think it was Twitter.
Yeah, yeah.
That fan told him to stay retired. You're a better commentator than you are a fighter.
You say it to my face.
And then Paul said, "Would you say it to my face, though?" I think everyone knows that one, so we don't have to go into too much detail.
No, you kick my ass. That's always going to be good.
Yeah,
but
Paul's definitely he's been a favorite of mine for a while. He just seems like a good dude who's just really wise and just really thinks out what he's going to say and what he's doing. And he's just one of the good guys, Yeah. I wish we got to see him fight, a couple more times. But, man, the last few fights he had were, there were some tough ones. So I don't blame him, man.
But he retires as the last guy to beat Charles Oliveira. So he gets. I loved him in the postcard press conference. How we kind of talked a little smack to Charlie Olives. How he's never going to be able to get that fight back.
Yeah,
I love
it. Funny.
He's such a good guy. But his last 2 fights was a split decision loss to Dan Hooker, where personally I thought he won. That was also, you remember, that was in New Zealand. So, a little bit of bias there, quite possibly. Then
that one kind of hurt too, dude, because he was on a tear. He was like, he was getting close to getting that title shot.
And he was 5. He won 5 of his last 6. Only 5 being lost to be Mike Perry during that one hell of a fight,
which was a weight class up, so it wasn't even in his weight class.
Right, and so his last 5 lightweight fights were wins. Then he loses to RDA in
short notice.
Another split decision loss on
short notice.
Was a 7-day fight.
It was something ridiculous, dude. Yeah. You remember how he looked, dude? It was scary.
Yeah, but man, Paul Felder, he's always going to be. He might not have been like a champion, but he's always going to be. He was that champion kind of guy, and so always going to love him. And then in honor of Paul Felder's retirement, I want to give you our top 3 favorite fights of Paul Felder. And so, Blake, let's go through this, you and I. Give me your first one.
So my first one would probably be his rematch versus Edson Barboza.
Oh, man. That was a good fight, right? That was a good-ass fight. For me, my first one is going to be Alex Ricci. This is back in 2017 where he got a performance bonus for a elbow that just would put anyone lights out. And then my next one, even though he lost this fight stands so vivid in my memory because this is kind of when I was first really getting invested to UFC. A couple of summers ago, this was a UFC,
June 2018, or no, maybe July.
July 2018. UFC 226. This was the first fight between Cormier and Miocic.
I remember because I was in Portland that week. It was good times.
That's right. But Paul Felder versus Mike Perry in such a bloody fight, in a really close decision. And one thing I remember most about this is that Paul Felder came out. He said he broke, and so he came out after. He broke his arm during this fight. Broke his right arm, I believe. But even after he broke it, he threw 2 more spinning back fists with that same arm. Who does that?
Crazy.
Who does?
Paul Felder.
Paul.
The Irish Dragon.
Hey, the Irish, not even Irish, really kind of dragon. Remember that stuff with Connor? That was
Yeah, the German Dragon or whatever. He's crazy.
right.
But he tweeted him on over the weekend. I think I saw he actually called him the Irish Dragon.
Love it.
Paid him some respect.
That's good. That's good. I like a humble Connor, but a humble with a little anger Connor. And
Yeah.
what your next favorite fight?
I also really liked that James Vick fight where he I think punctured his what was it? He like punctured his lung, I think, spleen or lung, something in that fight.
Puncture an organ.
Yeah, it was bad. So I mean, another reason why you're not too surprised to see this retirement. I mean, dude's been through, hell and back. So.
Right. And then my favorite fight from him was his fight of the night, performance of the night bonus. Throw it back against Danny Castillo when he was still undefeated. This one, another Daniel Cormier card. This was UFC 182 back in 2015. Cormier versus Jon Jones. And I don't know. He's ended this with I think one of the 6 spinning back. No, I think it's 3 spinning back fist finishers in UFC history. It's something really rare. This is one of them. Landed a fat spinning back fist in the second round, finishing on the ground. This was just a Paul Felder bonus. Also, he had the kind of like mohawk mullet going on, so that was a good look on him as well.
So my other favorite fight for him would be his TKO with elbow finish over Charles Oliveira at UFC 218 in 2017. Just the last guy to beat the champ, so
and he knocked him the hell
pretty
out.
Cool. Knocked him out. Well, TKO'd him, but still.
That he battered him with some elbows. Let's put it that right, man. But
someone had to pull him off.
Hats off to Paul Felder in his fantastic career. I know he'll be seeing this, and so
he's a big fan.
Huge fan, the hugest.
Big fan of the show. He's a Patreon member.
Just reply to us on Twitter. That's all we want. Here, let's bring into the next news. Is that over the past number of days, we learned that the reason that the proposed Oscar De La Hoya return boxing fight between GSP, why that didn't go through is because Dana White intervened. He stopped this from happening because I guess GSP still has some sort of contract-ish with the UFC, some sort of legal thing. It's ended up being out of my pay grade, so you got that. He stopped this fight from happening. The fight promotion Triller has come out and said that they will donate $1 million to a charity of Dana's choosing if he allows this fight to happen. And even with the potential $1 million going to charity, 1, I doubt Triller even has the money to do that. 2, nothing is going to sway Dana from changing his mind. And 3, GSP would murder De La Hoya anyway, so this doesn't matter.
In a boxing match?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I don't know about that.
No, I probably.
But
I think he would win though. I think he would win.
I'm just not interested at all. I just don't. I don't think we should be. I don't think we should be giving Oscar, too much limelight right now. He looks like he's struggling.
Oh, what do you think though? Is this gonna happen?
Nah. I mean, Dana already blocked it. I don't think it's gonna happen, dude. I don't think anyone wants to see that fight. It'd be different if it was a fight that everyone wanted to see and it was like young dudes going at it, but it's GSP and Oscar De La Hoya in a boxing match. Like that's just. I'm tired of seeing MMA guys go over to boxing. Right? Like let's at least have one of them come over to MMA.
Jake Paul come over to MMA and
I know there's been boxers that have come over to MMA, but there's not been a Mike Tyson, a Floyd Mayweather, someone that's huge.
It's always been MMA guys going to boxing.
Yeah, it's the huge MMA guys going over to boxing because they're gonna get a payday. Yeah. So, I'm cool off that. I hope it doesn't happen.
Me too. There's no need for this in this crap promotion. If you even want to give them respect and call them one. Now with Francis Ngannou though, so of course we've always for like the past 3 weeks, maybe even a month, we've been just focusing on Dana White just not caring about Jon Jones, at least saying that he doesn't care about Jon Jones, and saying that the fight that they're going to make for the next heavyweight title for Francis Ngannou's first defense is going to be against Derek Lewis. But this fight still hasn't been made official. This is still in talks, according to Dana White. And so I think that Francis Ngannou is still going after that Jon Jones fight, and this is why nothing's been made official. Do you think this is the case? And then do you think this is a good move by Francis Ngannou?
I don't know. If it is the case, I'm a fan. because I think that's the fight that most people, I mean, in my opinion, I think that's the fight most people want to watch is Jon
agree.
Jones versus Ngannou. Just a little more intrigue there, right? Like we've already seen Lewis and Ngannou. Not saying that they couldn't deliver a better fight this next time, and they should. I mean, it shouldn't be hard. You know what I mean? Like how many strikes combined did they throw in that? Like 30?
I think it was 30 to 40.
It was
not good.
So yeah, but back to the point. If that is the reason why this is, kind of talks are holding up right now, I think that's cool. I think that's cool on Francis's side to kind of try and get exhaust every possible avenue, in order to make this fight happen. Because I think this really is important to the MMA community and possibly to the whole, kind of, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? Like kind of story of MMA, like the build up, right? Because this is going to be written in history,
right?
So this would be a big chapter in the MMA history, even though it's really early on still.
And that'd be one hell of a first title defense too against the greatest light heavyweight, arguably the greatest fighter of all time with Jon Jones. And so I give Francis Ngannou a lot of respect for this. He's not taking the easy road. That even a fight with Derek Lewis still won't be easy. The most knockouts in UFC heavyweight history. So that is no easy night at the office by any means. Then one of the last things is that Tough comes out on June 1st, and I know it's been a little lackluster ever since they announced who the coaches are, but I'm still excited nonetheless to see the return of the Ultimate Fighter, man. I've never been able to experience a season, like a live season, I guess if you want to call it that. So I'm looking forward to this. This is going to make my ESPN Plus account worth the $5.
Yep. They're going to have new episodes streaming every Tuesday on ESPN Plus, 12 episodes total. So, and then obviously we know it ends with the coaches fight and that nice little card towards, I want to say into July or so. So yeah, it should be a decently entertaining season. I think, Volkanovski kind of seems like a chill dude. Brian Ortega, he's ready for the camera. So yeah. He should bring a couple nice moments.
And I guess the hair is back, so he's going to look good.
It's growing back. It's growing back slowly.
I kind of like the short hair on Brian Ortega.
It's growing a little fast, actually, I'd say.
The short hair is a good look.
Hey, he's a good-looking dude. Let's be honest.
He's a good-looking dude.
Good-looking dude.
He was not hit with the ugly stick like I was.
Right. But no, I mean, I'm excited for this season. Anything fight content
Max
wise.
Holloway a crap ton of times.
Yes. But anything to do with fights, I'm excited to see. So I'm gonna give them a watch. I'm gonna see how they do. Maybe he won't be as entertaining as Uriah, Butchin, Faber, and Connor. The Lucky Charms McGregor.
Early prediction for which team is going to win this. I'll put money on Ortega.
I mean, this is totally like not on any. We don't even know anyone, so
exactly. I'm just guessing.
I'm
just going with Ortega.
I have no idea. I guess I'll have to choose Volkanovski since you chose Ortega.
Hey, don't feel pressure, man. You can choose me and you'll just be right.
I don't know anything, so this doesn't even matter.
You make a compelling argument. You make a...
Volkanovski's who I'm just doing it so I can, be opposed to you.
That's fair.
You're a Broncos fan. I never want to be on your team.
Oh, I've really got to bring this into it. You're just mad that the Broncos are going to finish ahead of the Raiders in the AFC West.
Yes.
I mean... in the third spot. No,
2-0.
Aaron Rodgers.
2-0 last year.
Aaron Rodgers coming to Denver. It's okay. It's okay.
NFL talk has taken over UFC talk. I apologize.
That's why we saved this till the end of the show. And speaking of the end of the show, let's cap things off with, of course, the Nene of the Week. And then with this week's award for the Nene of the Week, is not Cody Garbrandt. Cody Garbrandt is a part of this, and although I hate to even mutter this guy's name on any show that we do, Jake Paul put out a tweet after Cody Garbrandt's loss, saying what's worse, Cody losing, or him not being able to ride the roller coasters due to height requirements. And Jake Paul is going to take the Nene of the Week, just given Cody Garbrandt's classic response of... roller coast D's nuts.
Yeah, it was pretty silly, I'd say.
It's silly.
I also saw Chris Leben. How do you pronounce that? Leben. Yeah, he quote tweeted Jake's little joke too and said, who's got a camera crew? Basically, we need to pull up on this guy and beat his ass. Because it's like, man, you would not say any of that to
Cody would
face.
run.
I guarantee it.
Jake is way bigger, but he'd get rammed.
Cody
by
would kill him.
Yeah,
Cody would kill him.
Cody would kill him.
100%. I'd put all my money on that. I'd put all of my money. If there was no security around, it's just those two in a fight to the death. I'd put all of my life, like any money I've earned in life, whether it been given to me or I earned
all
it
the money
through a job,
you put into Endeavor
everything,
stocks.
all money I accumulated, bro. Yes, all my Endeavor stocks.
Speaking of which, Blake, you made a good investment in Endeavor. I love it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, right. Hey, pump Endeavor to the moon. Let's do this.
Yeah, we need to get people buying again so I can start making some more money.
Right, make me some more money. Big, my Dogecoin's down, so I need the Endeavor to pull things back up. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in to UFC Talk 45. Sorry about the inconvenience from last week, how we were unfortunately unable to get a show. You could blame files not saving correctly. Here we go. We didn't get one last week, so let's go for last week's Name of the Week. Was me, because my save files got corrupted of the video and audio. So, yeah, I love technology sometimes, Blake. It's going to be a tough weekend. There's no UFC fights on this Saturday. So it's going to be a tough one. We're going to have to find something to talk about next week because that's what I'm here for. And that's why, Fourth Long Owner, LLC, host, CEO, CFO, all the above. I'm just that built different. But Blake, I can go on for a while. Let me get your thoughts of UFC Vegas 27 in one word or phrase.
Blood.
I do like that. And ladies and gentlemen, please try to find a way to entertain yourself this weekend. I know this is one of the very few weekends of the year that we don't have fights. We're in this together. We can make it. And then if you need some more help, just hit us up on Twitter and Instagram. Always ready for a conversation just to get it through this weekend. But thank you so much for enjoying. And before I sign off, I got to give a quick thank you to our Patreon supporters. Shout out to Ray Rodriguez. And for all your card collecting needs, go on over to Instagram and look up at the Big Bat Box and get started with all of that today. Shout out to Ryan Watson and Neil Wiley in his YouTube channel, Chosen Problems. Signing off this week, we will see you in the next one.